Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to the channel where today we are going to be checking out the next album in the discography of Björk's. That, of course, is going to be her 2015 record, Vulnicura. Now, before we get started today, keep in mind if you want to see the full unedited reaction of not just Vulnicura, but every Björk album I have listened to in her discography since debut, it's on the Patreon down in the description below for $5 a month. You can watch all my videos unedited, not just Björk, but Pink Floyd too, and every other album I have covered this year. But back into the main thing here. Vulnicura is a rather large album, both critically and commercially. I think this is one of her biggest, at least one of her most celebrated LPs I've seen. I've seen many people in my comments looking forward to this album specifically for the reaction, and I'm pretty excited to jump into it because it's a 58-minute LP. I think it's one of her longest projects so far that we've covered. And at 9 songs, there are some pretty lengthy tracks, one of these being a full 10 minutes. That's going to be the longest track I believe Björk has done thus far. So I'm very excited to hear what Black Lake has to offer, but I'm very excited what this album has to offer in general because upon further research, I have come to understand that this album is essentially a breakup album, seeing as she had split with her partner Matthew Barney, and here this album kind of chronicles the deterioration of the relationship and her healing process. And as a sucker for breakup albums and sad music and albums that kind of just explore the theme of grieving, a relationship in a sense, Vulnicura seems like it might be right up my alley. But without further ado, let's get into it. 9 tracks, 58 minutes, Stone Milker. Let's go. All right. I'm hoping for a kind of emotional LP here. I do like that we got some strings. Sinks into it now. I like the focus on strings that we're getting on this one. Very very ambient almost, with that kind of instrumental in the background there, feeling very washed out. Love a good bit of ambience. Very kind of sluggish feel to this. Oh. Oh. I love this kind of swelling passage here with all these instruments coming together. Loving the meld of kind of like electronica ambience mixed with the strings. Really great parallel. Sounds fantastic. Really great swelling sound on this one as well. Hear this kind of deterioration speaking on their relationship. In regards to her and Matthew Barney, this relationship here, speaking on it, it's almost like she's kind of begging for him to kind of confess or speak on his emotions, is what I'm gathering here. She wants him to speak his mind so they could perhaps be unified. That feeling after a fight with a loved one where you do feel somewhat closer, that you both sort of confess how you feel. Maybe she wants that kind of unified emotion. But maybe he's too locked up. That's a really beautiful kind of opener here. Oh. So, like, kind of triumphant in a way. Very just beautiful strings here, just so enveloping in their sound. There's a lot of like sorrow and kind of pain in these strings as well. Very rich in emotion. Wow. These strings completely isolated now. What a stage setter this opener was. Really feels like a wild opening to really set up the rest of the LP. Love those strings. Just gorgeous. Love the ambience on that one. The kind of electronica that was much more subdued up against those strings. And Björk does sound a lot more pained vocally. It does feel like she is kind of pleading for her significant other here. I think to open up and express himself in the hopes that they might be unified after the fact. Like a good, necessary fight, I guess. Here's Lion Song. Let's keep it going. Oh. Almost alien with these vocals. Man, I don't think Björk has ever sounded more kind of pained and desperate in her voice. Maybe he will come out of this loving me. Kind of hoping, perhaps, for a change of heart here. Feels very sad. Feels very, again, pained. And, again, instrumentally here, it's so much more subdued than I feel like a lot of her work is in the past. Comparing her significant other here to a lion, attempting to tame perhaps his aggression or his emotion. I didn't even gauge when the strings snuck in here. It was so gradual. I love the string arrangements so far. I'm really enjoying the melding of the kind of lo-fi, chilled out electronica and these strings. Once again, I think they are an incredible contrast. It really speaks to the sorrow and emotion. Oh my goodness, I love that drawn out, bothered kind of holler. Oh! Well, this definitely feels like a grand evolution of what she was doing in the 90s. A real return to form, I guess you could say, for Björk on this album. Because it's not as high concept of something like Biophilia or Medela. Oh. The strings, I love the way they're just syncing up perfectly with the pitch of her vocals. Almost like a real unified one and the same. Loving, again, just how kind of raw and emotional Björk feels on this one. And these strings are just lovely, very orchestral. Wow. I really love that one. That kind of I don't know, I don't want to use the word techno, but the electronic, I should say. That breakdown in that back end when it all comes together, very kind of skittery and sporadic. Those strings, very orchestral, and pained, intense sorrow. Loving the sound of Björk throughout this one. Here's History of Touches. Let's keep it going. Quickly, just want to mention one thing I found interesting too is the album booklet that comes with the official album. The subtitles for the tracks, the other one said 9 months before. Track 2, Line Song, is 5 months before. Is this perhaps leading up to the peak, or I guess the end of their relationship? This kind of falling out. Not sure, but here's History of Touches. Let's keep going. Curious. This one's 3 months before, just for reference.
I wake you up in the middle of the night to express my love for you.
Very romantic, very sweet. Love these deep, like bass lines. Oh.
At the same moment.
Like the kind of glitch sort of elements too. This kind of cold, glitchy, distant sound.
This is our last time together.
Loving this one lyrically too. Very vulnerable.
We've been together every single fight.
Björk.
We had to
Getting quite direct, very blunt. That's another thing I said in the last couple of albums she had done. Specifically, I want to say again, Biophilia and Modelo, which I feel like are the most high concept of her work. With those, like I said when I listened to Biophilia, I felt like her lyrics were getting too out there, too abstract for my liking, which I think certainly work in the kind of realms of their music. But here on Vulnicura, I think the very blunt, very direct lyricism cuts a lot deeper. There's no kind of beating around the bush with her emotions on this one, which I like. I also like the way this instrumental is kind of syncing up with her vocals again. Kind of fades out when she's quiet. Here she's kind of just musing on their physical intimacy. Perhaps as time went on, they became less intimate. It began to fade. Yeah, 3 months before signifies that this song is about the events 3 months before the breakup. Really like that one. Lyrically, kind of sweet, as she just thinks about their physical intimacy. It's very romantic. It's very sweet. It's very cute. But again, knowing that this was obviously written after their breakup, you can hear almost like a sadness, kind of reminiscent kind of feeling. She's trying to recapture that feeling, I guess. Let's go into Black Lake. 10 minutes. This is it. This is the 10-minute one. Wow, I'm excited for this one. I wonder, this one's 2 months before. 2 months. Wow. I thought this was going to be when they fall out, but let's see what happens. 10 minutes. Maybe the progression on this one will be slower. Wonder how the pacing will be. So far, I'm really loving Vulnicura so far. I think it's emotionally a lot more rich. And I feel like you could feel a lot of the emotion come through. Loving the strings. Like, again, her and just the strings. It's so... I also want to say, like, theatrical in a sense. Feels like the spotlight is on her as she expresses her deepest emotions. Ooh. Oh. I love that kind of like bassy sound. So deep. It feels like it's ingrained into the mind there. It's just so buried in the mix. I wonder if that's going to come to the forefront as this progresses. It's coming to the forefront now. This sounds like it would be the kind of end of the relationship already, but this is 3 minutes before. Perhaps the cracks are beginning to show, though. Ooh, the next passage seems incredibly descriptive. I love the uses of words here coming up. Right here. This is this passage right here specifically. Wow. Where's this going? Hold on. I was going to say something, but we got to ride this out. Oh my god, hold on, it's turning into a banger here. Oh my god, these... Oh. Incredible. This song's incredible. The pacing, the build-up, the payoff, it's all there. And lyrically, I think I'm going to say it now. I think Vulnicura might be her best work lyrically already. You fear my limitless emotions. I am bored of your apocalyptic obsessions. Did I love you too much? Devotion bent me broken. So I rebelled, destroyed the icon. Like, this songwriting is impeccable. I think that is one of her best passages on a first listen, at least. This just had me shocked by its songwriting before we got to it. It's so descriptive. It's so emotive. I feel like it says so much in such a kind of literary prose sort of way. Very just dense. Love it. Love it so much. Let's keep it going. This is insane, this song. I love... It's throwing so much at us. It's a swirling, epic sound at this point. Great use of space, too. Like, we had this kind of wild cacophony of sound, and now we're dialing it back. I'm gonna make a point after this track as well about comparison to another artist. Oh my goodness, Björk holding that note. Her voice is sounding as beautiful as ever, so crystal clear. I know before this record, I think she had some issues with her lymph nodes, had to get some work done on biophilia and the like. Some people have said that her vocals were not quite up to par as they had used to been. Here on Vulnicura, I think it sounds just so clean, so sharp, completely just overthrowing the mix, how dense and beautiful she sounds. I love her rolling of the R's as well. A lot of character in it. Even like this passage, just incredible songwriting. And this next, oh my god. Every passage here is wonderful. Every passage. This final passage, the shiny rocket passage, I'll call it. This one coming up. Incredibly well written. What a passage. Björk at her most poetic, blunt at times, and much of this feels like it could work in just a book of poetry without the music accompanying it. Is still very strong on its own. I'm loving it. And these strings, a lot of kind of sadness being pulled out of them. Kind of very like lonely in its sound. Oh, this is 2 months after, not 2 months before. So never mind what I said before. I am incorrect. But now you can see she is attacking Matthew Barney here, really just letting all her pain spill out, all her emotion kind of overflow as she thinks about the end of this relationship. But I gotta say, lyrically, her best, perhaps her best track. I think this is an incredible track, just from a songwriting standpoint. Like, this could be easily a full poem without the music to accompany it, and I think it would be just as impactful and just as strong. Just really kind of dealing with the fallout of a relationship that many can relate to. Incredible. But also instrumentally, I love the use of silence throughout this thing. I love the use of the kind of ambient textures that we got, and those strings too, very swelling with emotion. I think this is what I was going to say in comparison to another artist. Björk has expressed that Kate Bush played a large role in her influences, I guess. And here, I'm really getting strong late Kate Bush, 2000s onward Kate Bush, where you have albums like Ariel or 50 Words for Snow, for example, both of which have a great use of silence, ambience, and strings as well. That's what this is reminding me of. And personally, I am all in for it. I love it. And I think what Björk is doing here is just as powerful as some of the LPs that Kate Bush did in her late career. So this is right up my alley, is essentially what I'm saying. And I think it's so far we're going perfect song after perfect track. Like I'm loving it. Let's go into Family. Let's keep it going. Very excited to see where this keeps going, because it's so just rich in emotion. Here's 8 minutes, and it's already feeling heavy and almost claustrophobic there, that opening. Oh my goodness. That like ripping sound too feels quite horrific. 6 months after the relationship. still sinking in the depression.
Is the father and the child, man and a woman, triangle of love.
Broken family here. I would imagine she had a child, I believe, with Matthew.
Do I go to make an offering? I sit the candles.
Really ominous, crushing sound of this on this track.
So to triangle, father, mother, child.
I love Björk's take on this falling out of a relationship. Instead of just focusing on her and, of course, her ex here, her ex-husband, Matthew Barney, she's bringing in the kind of complex feeling of how do you deal with a broken family and such. Thinking about their daughter, who really has the only thing to keep them unified. Oh,
How will I sing
oh my goodness.
out of things?
Got us on the edge of our seat with this string.
Build a safe bread. It will make us a part of this universe of solutions.
This whole,
This place
oh my god.
of
This is a
solutions.
beautiful back half.
This location of
Very interesting song structure on this one.
God save
Such a soft, extended, kind of lost feeling. It really does feel like it is symbolizing like this kind of depressed, cold, broken family. Everything feels kind of eerie and off. I'll say for this one, as we come to a close here with this track, love the song structure specifically. I think it was like a 3-part structure essentially with 3 segments to it. That second segment, very kind of theatrical with the string, felt kind of horror in a sense. There's obviously a huge tension on it, and then that last segment, that last passage, was much more just kind of hopeless in tone. It really felt like we were kind of thrown to the side, and we are kind of like in a cold, sort of winding down atmosphere. Felt very crushing and very depressive, of course. Love that one. Love Björk's take. Love Björk's sort of approach to the sort of family dynamic now completely kind of broken apart. Here's Not Get. Let's continue it on. That last one, 8 minutes. right after a 10-minute track. You know, we're getting some lengthy, beautiful, largely multi-structured tracks. But let's hear what Not Get has to offer. How far is this after? 11 months, so almost a full year.
Didn't even notice for our love kept me safe from death. You doubted the
Very like jarring, kind of bouncy instrumental here. Oh, like a drum line sneaking in here, completely switching up. Everyone has their own method of healing. Oh my goodness. Love the electronic elements on this record. They feel so much more honed and just creative, but still confined. I feel like she got a little too wild with the instrumentals on the last few projects, whereas this one definitely feels a lot more focused. I think this concept is what really brings it all in. Oh my god. Incredibly well produced as well. Clean. She also uses her backing vocals on this LP a lot less than she did in the past. I feel like on some of her other albums that we've covered so far, she kind of relied a little bit too heavily on the backing vocals and kind of syncing up with herself vocally. Whereas in this one, they kind of just have these short, fleeting moments, adds a lot of emphasis on those specific moments. Less is more is really the main takeaway with this LP, I think. Oh my god. What a daunting, powerful instrumental here. It's so bouncy. Oh. I feel like we are all encompassing here. Oh my god. This outro. Like, I feel like we are sprouting out into every direction. It's like smacking sound effect. If Vesperine was like this beautiful swelling LP of being in love, this is like the horrific fallout of that. It still has a sense of beauty. I think that's just Björk's nature, but at the same time, it does feel a lot more. It's like the pained, sad, frustrated, maybe a little angry Vesperine Another great one. I feel like that one I didn't have as much to say, really, just because I was really just taking it in. But that whole back half, incredible electronic elements. I think this is, she's really feeling like she's forward thinking, but a lot more honed in on a sound, which I think she requires. I do think it's much better when Björk is working in some sort of, confined concept. Let's go to Atom Dance. Another long one, 8 minutes.
We are each other.
Sorry, I gotta know. I like seeing the passage. So the last one was 11 months after, and this one really was dealing with drum beats throughout the album are an audio representation of Björk's own heartbeat. Portrays panic and anxiety when the beat picks up. Oh, that is a very interesting and unique detail that on further listens is certainly going to make this LP a lot more, even more rich than it is on a first listen. But this one is, we don't have, it doesn't say how long after, eh? Well, that's disappointing. Wait, hold on. Anoni is on this one. Did not know that. Perhaps spoiled it myself there. But I love Anoni, so let's keep it going. Shout out Anoni and the Johnsons. I think the two of them are really great together. Oh. Perhaps a little bit more whimsical on this one. Maybe she's healing. She's finding herself once again. I'm not sure how to take this one. This is an interesting track. I love this swirling, kind of hazy ambience we're getting. Perhaps healing from a broken relationship. Those dead layers coming off. Oh, there's Anoni in the background. Oh, once again, that kind of static coming back. This one throws so much at you instrumentally. I feel like the layering, the arrangements on this one are perhaps the most dense they've been on the album. Definitely feels like the most full track in terms of instrumental. It's a little overwhelming, but I think on repeated listenings will become easier to take in. Oh, Anoni. Kind of glitched out, being sampled back. Impeccable track. It just feels so like ever expanding, this track. This track is a real brain melter. Love the kind of glitch elements, the sampling. Adam Dance is insane. What is there to say about this one? Perhaps the most complex arrangements on the LP. Anoni brings a lot to the table there. I think, again, incredible vocalists in their own right, but also just really fantastic up against Björk. I feel like Anoni brings a lot to the table there. This one was just a... No one is a lover alone. From what I was reading here, kind of dealing with what they refer to as an Adam dance, referencing the concept of quantum entanglement, where essentially, even after a relationship ends, the kind of butterfly effect, or the relationships, the friends that they may share, kind of have continual influences and effects on one another. Feels very high concept, feels very complex to throw into a track, but here at 8 minutes, I feel like it does a pretty good job at delving into it. Well, again, that layering the arrangements, the vocals of Anoni and Björk up against one another, the sampling of their own vocals back, just absolutely mesmerizing. I feel like I was really getting lost in that one because of just how dynamic and explorative it was. I'd also like to say, hearing the samples of Björk's own voice and Anoni's as well reminds me of the Death Grips album, The Powers That Be, Side 2, Jenny Death. No, actually, Side 1, which I will not say the name of if you know it. But that first half of Powers That Be heavily samples Björk's vocals, if you were unaware, and it reinterprets and they kind of play the Björk samples through Zach Hill's drum set to make instrumentals that are incredibly glitchy and just mesmerizing in their sound. And I feel like they both came out 2015, if I'm not mistaken. This came out 2015. Powers That Be came out 2015. You could definitely see the kind of era of Björk in the Powers That Be, and how they kind of bounce off one another. I'm not sure what came first. Maybe Björk took influence from Death Grips on that kind of idea, or they took it and vice versa. But it's very interesting to me. I love hearing sampled back vocals. I've always found that in any musician's work to be really interesting and powerful when done right. Björk does it quite well on Adam Dance. Let's go into Mouth Mantra. Sorry if I'm a little long-winded with some of these. I feel like there's a lot to say as we take it all in. I love the electronic elements on this LP too. So alien. Quick side note, this track is about the 3-week period after vocal surgery in which Björk was not able to speak, and is separate from the main narrative of her falling out with Matthew Barney, which I think is important to note. Definitely a very high-tech sort of sound on this one. Definitely the most alien sounding track here, and the most early or most homogenic sounding Björk I've heard in a while. Very like sporadic techno. Even this has a sense of sadness, as if she's broken up with her talent in this 3-week period, you know? Kind of carries over some of the themes in a sense. Must have been very isolating. Loving these strings too. Oh. I love that vocal sample there. Which by the way, such a pounding drop on that. Oh, I love this passage here too. Oh, such a drama with these strings. Oh. Love that peak before we cut off here. What a track that was. Very like high-tech kind of sci-fi elements to this one. Feels super futuristic. And really kind of mimics the cover. I mean, super alien in a way. Here she really just delves into mourning the loss of her voice, and in the end being quite thankful for her voice. Here, Tunnel has enabled thousands of sounds. I thank this trunk, referring to her own throat as a trunk. Very, very kind of funny wording, I should say. But I really like this track. Super high tech in its sound. Does it fit the narrative? Other than, I guess, the pain, the sorrow at the beginning of the track of her losing her vocal abilities, I wouldn't say it's too tied into the narrative, but that's okay. It takes a quick little break. Let's go into Quicksand to close it out. Not where I thought this was going to go. I thought this was going to be a much more strings, kind of slow closer. Right off the bat, we are getting something quite cold and no strings whatsoever. This main percussive sort of, I guess, drum beat, it's just so just so rapid, and up against these strings which feel wavery. Pitching up. Very different tempo. Kind of feels ever expanding in a way. Not sure how I feel about this one as a closer, but that closes it out. I gotta say, this one here is the oldest song apparently on Vulnicura, and it's actually about Björk's mom, who suffered a heart attack that left her in a coma for a week. The track kind of delves into the themes of that. So it would seem like Vulnicura here really kind of ends its main narrative of her and Matthew Barney with track 7, which is an impeccable, amazing track, and as a closer would have worked just fine. Do I think Mouth Mantra and Quicksand should be removed from the LP? I would say no. I think they fit still, in terms of the kind of sonic palette that they delve into. Maybe a little bit too techno-leaning in a sense. The strings are a little lost on them, but still, they're fine there. I just kind of think my main takeaway is I wish it kind of stuck to the main narrative, because that is what really, to me, makes this album shine. I really love Björk diving into themes of sorrow and depression, and love, and kind of reminiscing about the good times in the midst of a breakup, as well as the kind of anger and frustration that she expresses throughout Black Lake, which I think is possibly the best track here. I think it really just has some incredible songwriting, some of Björk's best songwriting, period. The lyrics are incredibly poetic, yet still very direct and blunt in their messaging. And I feel like, that's the main thing, too, with this LP is Björk has never felt so strong as a songwriter before this. I mean, she's always been a great songwriter, like I said. I just feel like she went too abstract with her last few LPs before this one. And here, she brings it back to being a lot more direct, a lot more clear in her messaging, while still delivering on some incredible poetry. Some of her best songwriting ever, like, to me at least, on a first listen. I don't really have anything negative, I guess, to say about this LP, other than, these could work as a bonus track, and the album could end sooner, sticking to the main narrative. But that's just a small gripe. That's just a small issue I have for myself. I really liked the strings. I really liked the more, I guess, withdrawn electronic elements that felt a lot more buried in the mix. It really makes for a really great contrast and a lot more emotion in the kind of sadness that this evokes at times. And even Björk's vocals, they sound incredibly clear, crisp, stronger than ever. I think that surgery definitely paid off in the end. And here, though, vocally, she does have more emotion and more depth in her vocals, because she's singing about something that feels very relatable, and something that is clearly very hard-hitting for her in the midst of this split with her and Matthew Barney. But what a powerful LP, and definitely a return to form. It feels like we are kind of continuing off where Vesperine ended, perhaps, maybe even before that, because I do think after Vesperine, those higher concept records that are a little bit more complex sometimes maybe push it a little too far for my liking. But Vulnicura brings it all back. So a great record. Not much else to say. I'm going to give it a lot more listens. I think this will even grow on me in time. And the songwriting, I think, is really going to be what brings this record higher up my ranking. Perhaps eventually, we'll see how it goes in the tier list. But I'm thinking this one's going to crack maybe top 3 of her LPs. But that does it for today's video. If you like the video, please hit like and subscribe to follow along in listening to more Björk records. We got just a few more to cover, and then we'll do the tier list. We're also doing Pink Floyd on the channel, so subscribe if you like Pink Floyd, and you can check out everything I've covered from them so far. Next is going to be Wish You Were Here, which I plan to get out very soon. But, as always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching, and I'm signing off.